Welcome to Transformation Now. We're dedicated to just inspire and support and help you be accountable in life and career and health and relationships. That's why it's so important that we really meet you with transparency and be authentic and meet you with help, hope, humor, and heart, bringing more of you into your life.
Exciting program today with Candi Troya, incredible warrior and realtor, changing lives of people across the nation, fighting grim battles with cancer. She will share an amazing story of endurance and triumph over mountainous obstacles.
And greetings, I'm Rita Rocker Kraft, and I'm the founder, producer, and host of Transformation Now, which is part of SoaringHigher.rocks. As speaker, author, and trainer, my heart is really to help people transform their lives and their careers, and with tips and programs that you can use immediately, but ones that will last you a lifetime.
Hello, my name is Carmelita De La Guardia. I'm co-host and coordinator of Women's International Issues. And also I'm an international, everything's all international here, international singer, pianist, and translator here in Omaha for the medical centers. Welcome.
And now we are very honored and very privileged to introduce you to Candi Troya, who is a real estate agent with Nebraska Realty, but she's also a prize fighter for life, and I mean literally. Her unbelievable 9-year battle with lung cancer, as well as dealing with a brain tumor, and her determination to live life to the fullest will actually astonish you. So get ready for an awesome program. Candi gives her all in everything that she does, and she's been on the board of directors for the Ronald McDonald House, and is also involved with very important organizations, and we'll talk about one specifically towards the end of our program. And so just really enjoy Candi, and we welcome you so much here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be here.
Thank you.
Candi, you have quite an exciting story. Very difficult life these past several years, as we know. Can you give us a brief testimony of life before and what experiences shaped and molded you to be able to be a prize fighter, which I just love that. These can include growing up and then choosing real estate as your chosen career for what, 27 years now?
27 years. Mm-hmm. So when I was a little girl, I spent a great deal of time with my granny and grandpa growing up. My granny was a saint. She was an amazing woman. She was always baking bread, always taking food to other people, just for no reason whatsoever. I remember getting to go to the door and knock on somebody's door and take Granny's fresh baked bread and jam that she had canned and whatever. And I loved watching her. She just loved making other people happy, whether it was with a loaf of bread or joining friends at bingo and just talking over the weekend or talking over their day's work of how they were sharing recipes and how they made their strawberry jams or whatever it is they were up to. And then my grandpa, he was a leasing agent at a big apartment complex, one of the older ones in Omaha. I believe it still exists. I'm sure it does. It was called Drake Court Apartments. And I still have that address in my head, 701 South 22nd Street. And don't ask me where that came from. But anyway, he would take me with him when he showed apartments on the weekends. And I thought, wow, he's really good at what he does, and someday I want to be just like my grandpa. And then I thought, no, I want to be like my granny. And I kept going back and forth, and so here I am years later in real estate and hoping I'm making people happy. So a little combination of the two.
Wow, that is awesome. Yes, to get that, because I can tell you have a very giving heart, Grandma. Thank you, Grandma.
Yes.
And also your interest in real estate, but to be a really successful real estate agent, which you are, people can tell if you have a giving heart, if you really care about them as a human being and not just making a sale. So,
Right.
You know, you exude that, you have that in you that people can see that, hey, she really wants me to have the house I love, not
Right.
just make a sale. So,
And it's all the time, because I know when she's in the hospital, I mean, right after she gets out, all the different treatments you've had,
Right.
okay, let's go buy, let's go
Right.
sell a house.
Right.
Who
Yes.
wants to buy a house? I just
Right.
love that.
Right, I put it on Facebook all the time. So I had brain surgery on Friday, June 14th. And I mean, I immediately got on my phone as soon as I was out of recovery. And on Monday, there were people that came up to the hospital to see me that were bringing me flowers and bringing me things. And they were surprised that I was gone. So I had people that came over to my house to visit me. And, you know, my daughter answered the door and said, "Oh, sorry, she's not home. She's on a listing appointment." And I was.
How many days after your?
That was Friday after the weekend. Monday I got out. Monday night I had a listing appointment. I got to do what I got to do.
Well, I had brain cancer, or excuse me, a brain tumor removed too, but mine wasn't nearly like yours. Oh my gosh.
Well, I can't, it's hard to keep me down.
Yes.
It really is. I'm full of energy and it is hard to keep me down. But on
Wow.
Monday night I had a listing appointment. Of course, somebody else had to drive me. And on Wednesday I sold a house. So
I'm
Amazing.
shocked and amazed. I mean,
Right.
talk about endurance and a boy, I'm going to get an attitude, and she's not going to let anything get her down. And so we want to encourage you with that, when you set your mind to something, you can overcome so much by just getting out there. And she has her prize fighter sweatshirt on too.
I do. My prize
that
fighter
we'll
jacket.
talk about in a minute. And she is a prize fighter for life, literally, and for your life and for your home, and in so many ways. You know, what happened when you discovered lung cancer? Because you certainly had an abnormal, I think, process of twists and turns in this.
I did. When I was first diagnosed with lung cancer, the first words I heard, "You have lung cancer," and it took so long to get there because they kept misdiagnosing me. I was treated for bronchitis, I was treated for pneumonia, I was treated for a fungus. Even after a CAT scan, even after a biopsy, they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me because I didn't smoke. So they thought, well, since you don't smoke, then you must not have cancer. You can't possibly have lung cancer. And so they didn't do the proper testing for me. And once I did hear those words from 2 different oncology doctors, it hit me like a ton of bricks. You have lung cancer, you have a malignant tumor. And one of my friends said, well, you have to find out what stage. You need to know what stage. And I'm like, what does stage mean? I didn't know anything about cancer. I knew I had lost my mom a couple years prior to that from breast cancer. And I mean, I didn't know anything about lung cancer and how did I get it. And one doctor, I'll never forget this, because I said, what am I looking at? And he said, oh, you're at stage 4. I'm like, what does that mean? And I just knew that meant in my head, oh, I'm in big trouble because stage 4 is not good. That's end stage lung cancer. And he said, well, yeah. I said, what am I looking at? I've got grandbabies. I've got family. What am I looking at?
And that was 9 years ago, right?
That was 9 years ago tomorrow, September 28th, 9 years ago. And he said, well, you know, and I remember him scratching his head, you're looking at about a year if you're lucky. You probably want to get your affairs in order. And I thought, okay, well, that was the oncology side, the guy that handled the chemo. So then I went across the hall to the radiation oncologist. And I said the same thing to him. What am I looking at? How did I get this? What do you have to do? Do whatever you have to do to me. I don't care what you have to do to me. You need to keep me alive. And he goes, well, I hate to tell you, but you've probably got about a year. I'm like, what, did they exchange notes in between the time I was at this office and this office? No. I mean, they couldn't possibly have had, but he's like, yeah, if you're lucky, you've got about a year.
You know, Candi, could you give us the statistics on lung cancer and what as far as the stigma related to it?
So there is a stigma related to it that if you smoke, you deserve lung cancer. That's the stigma, that you have to be a smoker to get it. There are right now, I would say 40% of the people in my support group that have never smoked that have lung cancer. Women under 55, they're finding more and more women under 55 that have never smoked that are getting lung cancer. 433 people die every day with lung cancer. And then as far as survivors, I believe it's less than 18% of the people diagnosed with lung cancer live 5 years or more. So there's a reason I'm still here. I'm 9 years.
Well, God's not through with you yet, for one thing.
Right, exactly.
Prize fight.
But I think when we were talking, did you say it doesn't necessarily have to be that, like my oldest sister who's gone now, she had COPD from smoke everywhere in the house all our life. But with lung cancer, that's not necessarily true, is it? Where you have to maybe be in a house where there's smokers?
No, I've asked several doctors, numerous doctors, did I get it from secondhand smoke because I was a bartender going through college? And he said, I mean, the doctor that I have now, Dr. Candi, he said there's not enough secondhand smoke to cause lung cancer. There is no trace of it whatsoever that, that causes it. There's some testing done with radon. I had the house tested that I lived most of my life in, and the radon was low. So again, I asked my doctor, Dr. Ganti at the Med Center, who is my hero, he said, all you need are lungs. That's what causes lung cancer. If you have lungs, you're a candidate for this disease.
So it's not a particular gene or anything,
No.
it's just one of those things.
No, if you have lungs, you can get it.
So that's something we need to be very aware of, when we're talking to people, and understanding lung cancer isn't specific to cigarettes or being around it. It's just one of those evil critters.
Right.
Your determination to survive and see your grandchildren grow was a motivator for being your own advocate. And viewers, I can't say enough that we must be our own advocates in health. I mean, I've been through about 25 surgeries in my life, and we do have to be an advocate and not just go, oh, okay, that's the way it is. No, we have so much to say in that,
Right.
and getting second opinions and letting doctors know how not to discuss issues with the parents. And I'm going like this for a reason, if you'd explain all that.
Right. So when I was told I had a year to live, if I was lucky, I'm like, you know what, I don't like you guys, I'm gonna go get a second opinion. But I had already been through a lot of chemo and probably 45 rounds of radiation. And I thought, you know what, I'm not liking this treatment, I don't have a good feeling about it. I would go to put my elbow down and there'd be somebody's purse there while I'm getting the IV chemo. And then we all sat in a circle and just watched each other's hair fall out. And I'm like, you know what, I don't have a good feeling about this, I don't like this. I'm gonna start asking questions. I didn't know anything about cancer, I just wanted them to make me well, and I wanted to get through, to see if I could get through that first year and then see what would happen, and I thought, no, I need a second opinion. And so I really believe God told me, get in your car, get on the phone, get out of here, get away from these doctors. And I talked to a friend, and he said, go to MD Anderson in Houston, Texas. They saved my dad's life, and his dad was in his 80s and was still going strong at the time. And so I did. I picked up the phone and called him. They said, come on down. Long story short, I found out that I was on the wrong kind of chemo for the kind of mutation that I had, and I had already had too much radiation. They fried my esophagus, so I'm no longer able to drink beer or soda. But wrong kind of chemo, okay? The wrong kind of chemo for my mutation. They didn't do any testing. They didn't do, had I listened to those guys, I wouldn't be here sitting here talking to you today.
In Omaha, right?
That was in Kansas City.
Oh, in Kansas City,
Yep,
okay.
yep. So they had me down in Houston, they had me pick up my records and go to a different doctor, and I did. And then I went from Kansas City, I lived down there for a short time, and then Kansas City to Omaha, and I did a lot of research before I ended up with the doctor that I have been today, and I've been with him for many years. I love Dr. Ganti, amazing doctor, but had I listened to them and not gotten a second opinion, it's hard to say.
I have a question. What about the other people that were having the same treatment?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I went down there, and I've written them. I had some articles that were written about me, and I sent them to that doctor, and with a note that says, number one, do not play God. You don't know, because here I am, and this was about a year ago. I sent him an article that someone did about me, and I said, I'm still here and alive and well. No thanks to you, but this is what happened. I was on the wrong kind of chemo. Pay attention to what you're doing. And I just wrote a nice little letter, and just so you know, I'm still kicking.
And you had that story that I loved when we were talking. Remember the arms crossed and the doctor that walked in? Would you tell our viewers about that? I think
Okay,
that's so cool.
so because I had lung cancer, they saw some fluid around my lungs, and they just wanted me to get it checked out. So I went to a heart doctor and specialist and checked in, and I'm sitting there, and I was just diagnosed, I mean recently diagnosed with lung cancer, and I was still a hot mess. I didn't know what was going to happen to me next. So I'm waiting for him to come in, nervous as can be, and all teary-eyed, and he walks in and he crosses his arms like this, and he goes, "So, Ms. Troya, when did you stop smoking?" I was furious. I was so mad. The tears went away, and I said, "You know what? I never smoked, and had you read my chart, you would know that I have never smoked, and this appointment's over." And I walked out, and I told the receptionist, the secretary, I said, "Do not bill my insurance company for this visit. We're done. I'm done." So, and I walked out the door, and I went and saw somebody else. So.
And that's what we have to do sometimes, literally, is be our own advocate. Don't ever let anybody just push you over and say, well, that's the way it is. Because if you have a gut feeling, which you did,
Oh my gosh.
and you had the self-respect to not let that happen, it's like, hey, doc, you're fired.
Right.
I love it.
I've done it. I have.
Well, there's a beautiful story you need to tell us. I know you have many stories, but about Garth Brooks and that concert.
The concert. Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
please.
My heart. My heart.
I love it.
So I think, and time goes so fast, you know, as we get older, time goes so fast. I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago that Garth was coming to town, and I remember sitting on the computer and looking for tickets, and I saw how expensive they were, and I asked somebody sitting next to me, I said, oh my gosh, these tickets are, you know, whatever they were at the time. Do I dare spend it? I wanted to take my daughter and my niece, right, and surprise them and with tickets to the Garth Brooks concert. And I took my sister as well. And I remember Nate saying, life is short, Candi, go for it, come on, do it. And I thought, okay, I got a brand new credit card, I'm gonna charge it. And I think I'm still paying for those tickets, but I'm not sure. But anyway, so I invited them all to the Garth concert, and they were like, well, where are our seats? And I'm like, you know, I'm really sorry, I've got tickets on the floor, but I paid for these, and you guys are up there in the nosebleed section, I'm sorry, but you get to see Garth, okay? And they were thrilled. And we were one of the first people in. My sister has a disability, and so we parked in the handicapped, and we got in a little sooner, which led us to the front of the line to get in on the main floor. So I remember them standing there, my daughter and my niece, Jenny and Dana, were both, okay, where's our tickets? Do you have our tickets? And I'm like, just wait a minute, okay, but you can walk here with us, but then you've got to go up about several flights of stairs to this section. And they're looking, going, okay, okay. Well, so then at the last minute, they're starting to let everybody in, and I handed them their tickets. And they said, oh, no, Mom, these must be yours, because these are on the floor. I'm like, well, let me look at mine. And sure enough, you know, mine were on the floor as well, only I let them sit 2 rows ahead of me, because that's what I do. I think they were in row 5, and I was in row 7. And so we went in, and we want to take pictures. I'm a picture freak and a Facebook freak with pictures, right? So I said, yeah, everybody stand here, somebody take our picture, and there are people working behind the rope, and they're getting ready for the show, and somebody said, I'm sorry, we don't allow pictures here, I'm sorry, you can't take any pictures. And I'm like, oh, no, it's okay, well, that's all right. And so my niece goes over and explains, hey, she's got stage 4 lung cancer, you know, whatever, and so they came around and took our picture. And I'm like, that was so nice, thank you so much. And then I needed to use the restroom before the concert started, because I was not gonna miss 1 minute of Garth and Trisha, right? So while I'm at the restroom, my niece, Dana, is talking to them and telling them my story. And look what she did for us. She's always doing things for other people, and she surprised us with these seats on the floor. And this is just how she is. Mm-hmm. And so they took her backstage, and they made this little sign on a piece of cardboard box. Candi is a prize fighter, or survived stage 4 lung cancer. I can't remember exactly what it said. And I came back not suspicious of anything, and we sat in our seats, and then Garth is out, and it's just amazing. And I feel my sister, I feel something on the back of my head, and I turn around, and my sister's holding a sign. And I said, what are you doing? Get that out of here. Give me that. You're gonna embarrass me. Do not hold that sign up behind my head. And she's like, okay, I won't. Put it down. She did it again. And I caught her. I said, that's it. It's going on the floor. Stop, okay? So then concert's going on, and he is an amazing performer, as you well know, and so is Trisha. And then next thing I know, Trisha comes out, and I heard her say, "Where is Miss Candi?" And I kind of froze for a minute, and I'm like, "My name's Candi. I wonder if she's talking about me." And I look, and Stacy's like, "Oh, she's right here." She walks me up to the stage. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you guys embarrassed me." And I'm thinking, wow, I'm going to get to meet Patricia. She sang the prize fighter song to me, and she goes, "Candi, I normally sing this to all the prize fighters out there, all the cancer survivors, but tonight I'm singing it just for you." I stood there like this and just listened, tears coming down. I mean, it was amazing. And then afterwards, she had her staff come out and give me 2 jackets, one for myself and one for my sister. And it says, Trisha Yearwood on the back of it. And this is the prize fighter right here on the sleeve, the boxing gloves. And ever since then, I've become Omaha's prize fighter. I've been in magazine articles and so forth in the boxing ring as the Omaha prize fighter. And it's just something that's attached to my name that I am so proud of, and I just need to keep being that prize fighter. And by the way, Trisha Yearwood, if you're watching, this jacket is about worn out. I could use a new one. But she's going to be in concert here, not in Omaha, but she's on tour. So I'm going to do anything and everything to go see her when she's on tour.
That's fantastic.
Amazing.
What an awesome story, and we thank you for that. We just have a couple minutes, but I just wanted Candi to kind of wrap up here regarding funding, regarding especially with the stigma for lung cancer, since it's not really considered one that gets a lot of funds like the other types of cancer, how the viewers can help. Now we do understand, and it'll be at the end of the program, there's it's called Lungs for, the number 4, lungsforlifefoundation.org. And so just in a minute or two, can you wrap up and tell us how people can contribute, how they can help in this, and then anything else as far as never giving up? I've got a couple minutes.
Okay, so lungsforlifefoundation.org, that was started by someone here locally in Omaha that is a lung cancer survivor. She had part of her lobe, or had a lobe removed, and she's doing great. She's in remission, which is something you don't hear from stage 4. But she is doing amazing, and because she wanted to raise money and funding and awareness for lung cancer. We do a golf tournament every year. We do a bowling event, and the money that we raise stays here in Omaha, and it goes to UNMC, and they do the research there. And believe me, they have come a long way. There are new drugs every day, and that's why I'm still here. But as far as never giving up, as far as like sales, you're going to get told no a lot, but you have to hang in there for that yes. Don't take no for an answer. You don't want to bug people, but eventually that yes will come, and when it does, it's an amazing feeling. And help others, be genuine. Don't ever, ever, ever give up on your dreams, ever. That's one of the things that I've said.
Thank you.
Obviously, I don't.
Yes. Thank you so much.
That is so powerful. We do thank you so much. I mean, what a blessing. And again, Candi Troya, and real estate agent with Nebraska Real Estate, and warrior for sure. So watch us over again if you'd like on KPAO. And we invite you to our next program with Madeline Moyer, and she's going to talk about when life happens and you have to reinvent yourself. Boy, do we know what that's like. Yes. So we look forward to seeing you again. Stay tuned. Remember, God loves you, and we do too. Bye.
Bye-bye.